ever get that nagging feeling. Like you want to really understand what's going on, be properly informed, but the sheer amount of information just feels overwhelming.
Yeah, like you're swimming in it, but not really grasping anything solid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do here. Not add more noise, but actually dive deep into things that really matter. And today, our focus is something we all deal with, right? Yeah. The subtle trade-offs we make for convenience, especially with technology, and maybe what we're giving up without realizing it.
We're looking at this really insightful analysis. It's called Trade-off Mind and Wealth for Entertainment and Poverty. And it properly digs into this whole interplay. Think of this as like a guided exploration into those big questions. What are we perhaps unknowingly sacrificing for all this ease and, let's face it, entertainment tech offers?
Right.
What are the deeper consequences?
Okay, so the big idea that really jumped out at me from this analysis is what we could maybe call the convenience paradox.
Right.
It's this notion that, technology gives us incredible ease. Instant info, talking to anyone, anywhere, endless things to watch or do. But this very convenience, it might have these hidden costs we're just not fully seeing. The analysis even uses a pretty strong phrase, willful ignorance.
Ooh, yeah.
It really makes you think, are we so caught up in the immediate perks that we're sort of deliberately looking away from the long-term downsides?
That's a really powerful way to put it. And what's fascinating, or maybe a bit concerning, is how this convenience seems to subtly chip away at our ability to be self-reliant. The article basically argues that over the last century or so, our growing dependence on tech has led to this erosion of really fundamental skills, both mental and practical ones.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. Not so long ago, knowing how to do basic stuff wasn't just like a cute hobby. It was necessary, right?
Absolutely. Survival, almost.
Yeah. And now, as the analysis points out, many of us just haven't needed to learn those things. Take navigation. GPS is brilliant, obviously. Super useful.
Oh, definitely.
But the suggestion here is that it's maybe contributed to a decline in our, basic geographical sense, our spatial reasoning. We used to use maps, look for landmarks, even, God forbid, ask people for directions.
Actively using our brains.
Yeah. All that stuff actively engaged our minds. Now a voice just tells us where to turn.
And the point isn't just, oh no, I can't get anywhere without my phone. It's more about the potential weakening of those underlying cognitive skills. That spatial awareness, the problem solving involved when you don't have the perfect instructions. The article also brings up food prep, the sheer ease of ready meals, delivery apps. It's meant that for a lot of people, basic cooking skills have kind of faded. Yeah. The author even mentions people not being able to identify common vegetables unless they're like chopped and in a bag. That's a pretty big disconnect from something so fundamental.
And you see this extending into our finances too, don't you? Yeah. Moving to digital wallets, credit cards, managing everything, often through these algorithms we don't understand. It seems efficient.
Super efficient on the surface.
But the analysis raises this flag, this concern about whether we're losing our grasp on financial risks, the actual principles of saving, budgeting, building wealth. It's like we're outsourcing not just the tasks, but the understanding behind them.
And that really brings up a critical point about what else we might be losing beyond just the skills themselves.
Yeah.
The article suggests that pretty much every time we choose tech convenience over doing it ourselves, there's a transfer happening.
A transfer?
Yeah, either our money or maybe our data or both flows towards these big tech companies.
Okay. So that's the wealth transfer mechanism they talk about.
Yeah.
And the examples in the piece are pretty stark, like Apple. It wasn't always this behemoth, right? But the analysis highlights how the iPhone basically swallowed up all these separate gadgets, cameras, music players, maps, calculators.
Your dictaphone, your torch.
Yeah, exactly, all rolled into one convenient package. Yeah. And that convenience created this incredibly powerful ecosystem we kind of depend on now. And, well, look at Apple's market cap, over $2.5 trillion. It's staggering.
The scale is just immense. That's what the analysis really drives home, this huge concentration of wealth. And it also points to Amazon, how it's reshaped how we buy things, often, squeezing out local shops.
Right, consolidating wealth again. That ease of clicking buy now has a real tangible effect on high streets and local economies. And then you've got the info giants, Google, Meta, Microsoft. They've become our main doors to information, haven't they?
The gatekeepers.
Yeah. And while having almost any fact at your fingertips is, let's be honest, incredibly useful.
Oh, undeniably.
The analysis sort of questions if this is maybe weakening our ability to do our own digging, to really evaluate sources critically, or even just remember stuff.
Yeah.
Why bother memorizing when you can just, Google it?
Exactly. And if we tie that back to what you mentioned earlier about wanting to be genuinely well-informed,
Hmm.
it's worth asking if constantly relying on these external shortcuts is, maybe ironically, making us less informed in a deeper way. We might have access to more data than ever, but are we truly internalizing it, understanding it, or just surface skimming?
That's a really good point. Now, the article doesn't explicitly frame it as lost time, not in those exact words, but reading between the lines, it feels like there's a huge implicit cost there.
How do you mean?
Well, when we're constantly pulled into just passively consuming things or letting tech handle tasks for us, aren't we potentially losing something incredibly valuable, which is our time and what we could do with that time?
Yeah, the opportunity cost.
Precisely. That time spent scrolling or letting an app navigate or ordering takeaway, maybe that could have been time spent learning a practical skill or digging deeper into a topic or just, building a stronger sense of capability. It's a subtle trade-off, but maybe quite profound.
That makes a lot of sense. And the article does actually offer some potential ways forward. It argues for a more, let's say, conscious relationship with technology. It's not about ditching it entirely.
No, that's probably unrealistic for most.
Right. It's more about being intentional, thinking about how and why we use it.
Yeah, the analysis talks about digital literacy needing to be more than just knowing how to use apps. It suggests maybe learning a bit about how the tech actually works, maybe even basic coding or understanding data privacy better.
And it also really champions cultivating practical physical self-sufficiency again. Things like, cooking from scratch, basic repairs around the house, maybe gardening, even managing money manually sometimes just to stay connected to it.
Getting your hands dirty, literally and figuratively.
Exactly. And it touches on supporting local businesses, too, and alternative economies as ways to kind of push back against that massive wealth concentration and build more resilient local communities.
The key thing seems to be education, right? Teaching kids not just how to use the tech, but practical skills, critical thinking, things that algorithms can't easily replace.
Absolutely vital.
So look, this deep dive into the convenience paradox, it's really not about making anyone feel guilty for using GPS or ordering food online.
Not at all. We all do it.
Of course. It's more about just raising awareness, thinking about the trade-offs. We, as the people using all this stuff, maybe need to be a bit more conscious of what we might be giving away bit by bit when we always choose the easiest path offered by our devices.
So maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. In this world that seems to increasingly value instant fixes and passive watching, what skills, what kinds of knowledge, what actual experiences might you, personally, be unintentionally pushing to the side? And what could the long-term consequences of those choices be for your own resilience, your ability to think and act independently, your overall well-being in this increasingly digital world? It's really about encouraging that more thoughtful relationship with tech, recognizing that maybe true enrichment doesn't just come from convenience, but from actively engaging with the world and building our own capabilities.